Hi everyone! In this tutorial, we'll talk more about details for collecting data and when to use different data collection tools. First off, I want you to think about outputs. Outputs are commonly a set of completed activities or tasks that are a direct result of your effort, so like number of people trained or campaigns conducted, etc. So when you're creating your output indicators, a few questions might come up, such as who is the source of this information? What's the frequency that you want to collect information from that source? And how much do you really need or how much do you want in terms of details? So asking these questions will help you determine when you split a data collection tool, like when you separate them out, or you create a new one, or you just define them differently. So I want to talk through how you do the least amount of details to the deepest level of detail you can collect in Kinaki for your output indicators. So right now I'm on the indicators page in my demo project just to show you what I'm referring to. But for example, let's think about an output indicator that wants to track the number of individuals who are trained in something conducted by your project. So you'll see that here under number 1114, we look at the number of youth club members trained. So for this, you can either import from the Excel list of all training participants or aggregated numbers of participants per each training session. Or you can have an online form where staff enter the total numbers of participants after a training takes place. This is what we recommend, PS. Or you can manually enter the indicator result for the reporting period, like quarterly, for example. In this case, you would be tracking your details elsewhere outside of Kinaki, and you just want to add in your final numbers in order to create a quick report or something. It really depends on the level of details you want, which will determine which data collection tool you use. So think about the groups of beneficiaries. Do you want them in the same data collection tool? So for example, adults and children or pregnant women and midwives. Do you want to ask them the same questions or different questions? If you want to ask them different questions, you may want to make two different data collection tools for them. So for example, just here up at the top, you'll see survey with adolescent girls and boys. So that means that a survey with the same questions is going to be delivered or asked with both girls and boys. But you know what? You could either split that or just keep in mind that you can use the same DCT, you can ask the same questions, but when you're calculating your results, you can disaggregate by the different groups. So you can disaggregate by gender, in which you'd see the results just for females and just for males, and then you could compare them if you wanted or see them side by side. Now remember, you can always go back and create more data collection tools, add new ones, and attach more indicators to them. And you can also have two data collection tools attach or contribute to one indicator. Okay, let's take a look in the demo project so I can show you what I mean a little bit more. So under Project, Collect Data, and make sure you select the organization, project, and data collection tool that you want. I'll show you three different data collection tools and what it looks like under each page in Collect Data. First, I'm selecting Output Tracking. And I'm on the Questions page. So here is where you'll see the outputs listed and the questions and answers associated with the indicators under the Output Tracking Data Collection tool. On the Designer page, you can see how the questions were made into the flow for the Output Tracking form. This is where you move the questions around for the form online that your project staff or whoever will fill out. So in this example, I think there's a choice between 4 outputs that you may be reporting on. And under data management, you'll see this is a record within my dataset that was provided to me by my team member. And when I'm ready for analysis of that dataset, I would click Submit for Analysis. Okay, so let's look at another example. Back on the questions page, I'm going to select Health Facility Records. And I just want to show you as well. So on the designer page, this is empty, but that's because we're not using an online form. We're just importing the data directly from Excel. So we don't even need this page. Under data collection, you'll see that data import is selected. And this is the button where you would actually import your data from Excel. Okay, so you would go ahead and choose your format, your language, and then your file. And under data management, there's no data sets in here yet, but you can see the buttons for import and export and where you would manipulate your data. And once it's there, you can submit it for analysis on the Submit for Analysis button, which will show up here when there's a data set for you. And lastly, let's look at the data collection tool, Training Records Attendance Sheet. So this is something that could be uploaded from Excel after each training. You can see the output indicators this data collection tool are associated with and the questions they ask. There's only 2 right now, just the number of healthcare practitioners trained or the number of people trained on permaculture kitchen gardens. Under designer, you'll see the form that is to be filled out and the responses to enter. So it's just the 2 in this case. So just so you know, you can still upload your Excel sheet with the numbers in it, but you can also just manually enter the totals as well. Under data collection, you'll see what I was just referring to, so you can do both. So we've got data import and online form selected. So that's the attendance sheets here. So you could import your attendance sheets directly from Excel, and that's good for record keeping in Kinaki. And then you can also just do that same thing, showing the link with that will take you to that online form with the 2 questions where you just fill in your total numbers. Okay, and lastly, under data management, is where, again, you will always see that active data set and where you would get to submit it for analysis when you're ready. And think about if you need to store your actual raw data in Kinaki, or if you will do that in Excel and just bring your final numbers into Kinaki to work with. You can keep your data sets in Kinaki, but it just may be easier for you to see and manipulate them first in Excel. A few suggestions, we recommend you do 3 review rounds of your outputs, data collection tools in Kinaki. So 1, when you're building your PMF or your indicators. The second round would be when you know when and how you are actually going to be implementing your outputs and your activities, to just go back and double check, make sure they all make sense. And thirdly, when you're designing the actual online form or questions, survey questions, because it might only actually be at this time when you realize you need to split your data collection tool. So I hope this was helpful. Please make sure to read through the user guide on the sections on data collection, watch the Kinaki tutorials, and reach out to us if you have any other questions that aren't answered here. Have a great day.